I loved all the action sequences. We had a whole bunch of really big set pieces, so that was a really fun challenge. But I also really loved the dance that Miles and I get to do. It felt really special. And when we finished it, it was a huge sense of like, okay, we got it. I think luckily in the film you get an opportunity to see both sides of her, but really her music taste was a big insight into who she was for me. How quick she is to laugh. I find that the balance between that and what she does for a living creates a very interesting person.
The movie takes place in a bit of a supernatural setting, but at his core he's a service member, elite sniper. I've had some, I've researched that for other roles before. I have friends who are in the military, family members who are in the military. You want to try and play it as earnestly as you can, and what we ask these men and women to go through and then just return to civilian life, it's really hard. And in this movie, I appreciated that there's a term warrior poet, and there's a long history of what that means. But really, it's nice, for him to have an outlet. I think some type of expression of what they go through, it's good. It needs to go somewhere. The movie does a really good job of exploring what that would be like when you're separated by a big canyon and miles of separation, but it still comes down from like intention, and even though they're separated by a long distance, you can tell that they really do care about the other one. There's a firefight that happens across the gorge where they truly have each other's back, but I think from the relationship standpoint, it just, there's a little distance between them, but the emotions are there. I hope audiences enjoy it. I really do feel like it's got something for everybody. It's a highly entertaining film, and it's a very big film. And I just hope they get something out of it. I think there's a lot of love that went into it.
It was something I wrote during COVID at a time when I was trying to sort out sort of how I was going to manage, what everyone was dealing with, right? And I knew I could always tell original stories, and that's what I love doing more than anything else. And it gave me, honestly, a little sense of control when I felt like I didn't have a lot of control. And it really was about a love story, about two people that who didn't have a person, who no one felt like they understood them, and then finally maybe there's this person over there that gets me that no one else does, but between us is this vast unknown, this horrible thing that nobody knows what's going on, right? And that's what COVID was at the time, and we kind of put a face on it in this movie, and it's really about, sort of love versus the unknown, which is what, is what so many of us did at that time. If you were lucky enough to have someone to be with, you were like, I don't know how we're going to do this, we'll do it together. I was in Lithuania a few years ago, and I really fell in love with Vilnius, the city, and the character of Drasa is sort of like this, this vibrant, like sort of tough punk rock woman who Drasa means courage in Lithuanian. And there was this, you would sort of see it everywhere in that town. You'd see the old accordion players at dawn, like playing in these alleyways, which was very much sort of the stimulation from the Erika's character, who her father is in the movie. For the Levi character, it was really about someone who was had lost the reason. Like they didn't know why they were doing what they were doing anymore. And honestly, they didn't know why they were even here anymore. And someone didn't have anybody. And the whole idea was to have that pairing where two people, because she's about ready to lose the one person that gets her, which is her dad, and then getting them together was sort of like the setup for how it works. So, and then you don't ever want to believe for a second that when he falls in, she won't go after him in a heartbeat, because what else are they going to do now without each other, right?
We got so lucky to get Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, that was such a big piece of the puzzle. And then really finding the best costume designer. And we got Ellen Moroznik, who was just nominated for an Oscar for Oppenheimer. And we had such excellent professionals. So that was sort of the fun of prep. It's just putting all those amazing pieces together in each department. We had an excellent crew and an excellent group of people making this movie. The first thing that was interesting to me about the script is that it was an unlikely love story, and I'd never seen anything like it with that particular blend of genres where you have this really beautiful kind of broken-hearted love story, and then you kind of dive into pretty hardcore fantasy and sci-fi. So it just felt really compelling and unique. I've been working with Scott for a little while when we got the script, and he is such an innovative filmmaker, you know, in horror, and he did Doctor Strange for Marvel, and he just has such a great vision, and he's so talented that we, you know, as a producer, you really do just support the director's vision, and you try, you know, everything in your power to get the things done that they need to get on screen. It was extremely challenging to sort of bring the practical elements of the filmmaking and this enormous VFX challenge. Again, we had the greatest craftsmen, you know, helping us put it together. We shot on stages in London, out in the forest, and then we really, with VFX, created the Gorge. It is such a beautiful romance, and Anya and Miles have such great chemistry that I hope it'll stand the test of time as like a great romantic movie.
This place is evil.